What is up, everybody? It's Connor from Unscripted, back again with another video. In today's video, we will be previewing today's matches. We are in day 4 of the Super Week already, and I'm excited to bring this preview and predictions to you guys, and as always, I'll be doing it off the script. But before we get into that, a quick preview of yesterday's matches, or recap of yesterday's matches. Dallas Empire, man, I predicted, as you saw my video yesterday, I predicted them to just blow right through London Royal Ravens. They almost lost that series. They lost both hard points, but ultimately won 3-2. LA FaZe beat Seattle Surge 3-2 as well. That was a little bit better of a series than I probably expected too, so shout out to the Seattle Surge for that one, but LA FaZe were able to pull through in a Game 5 search. And then OpTic Chicago, like I predicted, beat the Toronto Ultra 3-1. I just recorded an entire video recapping that, but unfortunately the audio was messed up and I did all that for nothing and you'll never see it. But regardless, OpTic looks sharp. They improved in their search. Despite losing the search, they played better, and they are looking very, very good in the respawn, so good news for them there. But we're not talking about those matches today. We are talking about today's matches, and we have some good ones on hand, I think. We'll see how they go, but we could be in for some good ones. So before we get into it, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to drop a like on the video, leave a comment in the comment section down below as well, letting me know your predictions for these 3 matches. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content or if you are new. I appreciate all the support I get on these videos. It means a lot to me, and I hope I can keep racking it up. So now, after all that is gone, let's finally get into the purpose of this video, today's preview and predictions. So first up, we'll have the New York Subliners versus the Minnesota ROKKR, and a few days ago, I might not have thought this was a very exciting matchup. I might have thought it would be a blowout, but it's a different story now. We saw New York look absolutely dominant against a London team who, at the time, we thought, okay, I mean, they're playing London, you know, not super impressive, but with London almost just barely losing to the Dallas Empire, all of a sudden it's a little more interesting. Maybe that New York blowout win was very impressive, and it was a blowout, no doubt about that. All 4 New York players were actually the top 4 players in overall kill-death ratio from day 2, of Super Week. So that shows how dominant they were if they were able to all be on the top of the leaderboard in kill-death ratio. Obviously, they're going up against a much better Minnesota ROKKR team who finally got their first hardpoint win of the season over the Seattle Surge, and a ROKKR team who is probably the best search and destroy team in the CDL. So this is an interesting matchup if New York can play the way they played against London. Now, if they come out and they start slow and drop the first hardpoint, they're probably not going to have much success in this series because of how good Minnesota is in search. But New York looked solid in search as well. I mean, they looked solid all around against London. They just dominated everything. This is a good series. I really do think it is interesting. Like I said, New York looked better. Clay is looking phenomenal in this game. Looking like a very good AR for sure. ASIM looked incredible against London. I just blanked on their name. Mac, he had a bounce back series for sure after his struggles against the LA Thieves the first time around. Diamond Con played well, you know, just all around great play from those guys, like I said, being in the top 4 in the KD. So if they can play like they're capable of, this is a good series. But on the other side, you're against a team of very formidable players who are extremely good in search and destroy and pretty good in the respawns as well. You know, even if they're not having the team success in the hard points, individually they're very good respawn players as well as search players. So that being said, I think the ROKKR take this series. I think the score just depends on which version of New York shows up. You know, I think ROKKR will be pretty dependable and consistent. You know what you're going to get with them. New York, you're still not sure because the team changes and their chemistry is not maybe where it needs to be yet. It's getting there for sure. But yeah, I think we're looking at either a 3-0 or a 3. You know, I can see anything really, 3-0, 3-1, 3-2. But I think ROKKR will take it. I will say 3-2. Because I think that New York might have had it figured out and they will play a little bit better. They'll take 2 of the respawns and then they'll get to that game 5 where I just have to favor ROKKR because of their presence in search and destroy. But should be a good one. I'll take the ROKKR in that one 3-2. Next up, OpTic versus the Los Angeles Guerrillas. So OpTic coming off yesterday's big win over the Toronto Ultra where they looked pretty solid like I said earlier. There's not much to say here, at least in the respawns. You know, OpTic should come out and just blow by the LA Guerrillas in the opening hardpoint for sure. If they play half as well as they played against Toronto in map 1, they'll beat the LA Guerrillas, maybe even worse than they beat Toronto, who only scored 68 points, because LAG not a good respawn team. For some reason, they're good only on Crossroads hardpoint. I don't know why, and OpTic usually vetoes that map, I think, so we probably won't see that map. Now, the Search and Destroy, I'm pretty sure we're only going to see one of them. I won't say Search and Destroys, just one. It could be interesting. I think this LAG team is sort of middle of the pack-ish in Search and Destroy, top 5 or 6 teams. So it's a good measuring stick for OpTic, who I think is right in that same range as well. You know, they haven't had their team success in Search and Destroy yet, but they're still a decent search team. I think they've lost to teams who are also very good search teams. You know, they're no Atlanta FaZe or Minnesota ROKKR in search, but I think they're okay at it. They looked better against Toronto. They were up 3-1 before falling 6-4. But regardless of that, they definitely looked improved on that raid. Maybe it has to do with the maps. You know, maybe if they get Miami, they're not going to like that, but they could veto it too. I'm not sure. All I know is I think they're going to continue to improve in search and eventually end up being a good search team. So I kind of think we see them take the search against LIG. Like I said, if LIG takes a map, it's going to be search. I can't see them winning any other map. But I will say 3-0. I think OpTic Chicago is just looking a lot better as it goes on. And of course, in the respawns, they look phenomenal. Probably the best respawn team in the game, especially after Dallas lost 2 hard points to London. I think OpTic is the best respawn team in the game, right up there with Atlanta for sure and the LA Thieves, but I think it's OpTic, and I think their search is good enough where they can get past a LAG team. But it's a good search match, but beyond that, I don't think it's much. So I'll take OpTic 3-0. Then finally, we have the Florida Mutineers, the struggling Florida Mutineers, I should say, going up against the Atlanta FaZe. So Florida coming off a shocking, surprising, whatever you want to call it, upset at the hands of the Paris Legion, where they lost 3-0. That was an ugly performance from the Florida Mutineers. There's no doubt about that. They have too much individual talent to be getting beat that bad by a team like Paris, you know, I think they're underrated. They're a quality team for sure. But in terms of just individual talent and slaying, I don't think they are the gap between them and Florida is not what it showed to be in that match. You know, Florida should have been winning the slaying, I think. They have Skies, who's one of the best ARs in the game, Awakening, one of the best flexes in the game, Neptune really coming around and proving to be a pretty good SMG in his rookie season as well. So they are full of individual talent. They just did not show it at all against the Paris Legion. But across from them, we have the Atlanta FaZe, who are hot for sure. They are undefeated. They are, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion, the very best team in the league. So it's not a good game for Florida Mutineers to be looking for a bounce-back win. But that being said, they did beat Atlanta FaZe in the Kickoff Classic, which maybe it's not saying a lot. That was basically a glorified scrim, but regardless, we know they can beat the Atlanta FaZe, and they actually beat them in both search and destroys in that, which is interesting because FaZe is a very good search team. But I think Florida's a pretty solid search team as well, especially Awakening. He's playing out of his mind in search, but I don't know. It's just Florida should be a better respawn team than they're showing just based on their slaying power. I don't know if it's their rotations aren't on, if it's their communication, or if they're just not winning the situational kills that they need, but regardless, I think they're going to eventually look a little bit better in the respawns than they look right now. But like I said, this is not a team that you want to be up against when you're looking for a bounce back. It doesn't get any tougher, in my opinion, than going up against the Atlanta FaZe. So a tough pull for Florida here. I guess I'll take the Atlanta FaZe to win this one 3-1, but if Florida plays like they played against Paris, there's no doubt in my mind they will get 3-0'd in this series. Now, like I said, we know they're capable of beating Atlanta, so a win by them will not be the most surprising thing in the world, but it would be a pretty big surprise. I mean, you can't get 3-0'd by Paris and then think people are going to expect you to beat Atlanta. It's just not going to work that way. Atlanta's just so individually talented. They play together as a team well. They just do everything right versus the Florida Mutineers, who, despite their talent, have not been doing everything right, and they have not been coming away with the situational kills to win the matches. So I will give Florida, I don't know, I guess maybe a hard point or the control. I don't know. I'll just give them a map. I don't know where it's going to come from. Maybe it depends on the map selection or whatever else, but I will give Florida a map, but I think they will fall to the Atlanta FaZe 3-1. So that wraps up the predictions for this day. I'll take Minnesota 3-2, OpTic 3-0, and Atlanta FaZe 3-1. That would improve Minnesota to 3-1, OpTic to 3-1 also, and the Atlanta FaZe to 4-0, putting them and OpTic basically on the top two teams on their side of the bracket for sure. But yeah, that's how I see these games going out. Like I said, drop a comment down below. Let me know how you see these games going out. You know, I'd love to hear your feedback and your opinions, and we can have a discussion about it, whatever you want to do, because these have the potential to be good matches, especially the first and third matches. I think there's some potential here to maybe surprise some people and be a little bit closer than people are expecting. But regardless of that, we'll see how it plays out. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like down below, as well as leaving a comment with your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and this is your first time watching. I hope you enjoy the Call of Duty we're going to get tomorrow. I know I will enjoy it. It's going to be a blast for sure. Yeah, thanks again for watching. Have a good one, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.